Welcome back. You're still with us on Startup Street. Now, the Reserve Bank of India has announced that it will commence the first pilot of the digital rupee in the wholesale segment tomorrow. Ritu, you've been tracking this and we finally have the CBDC pilot. Can you tell us more about this?
That's right. Starting the 1st of November, we will see the launch of the first pilot of the much-awaited digital rupee in the wholesale segment. And within a month's time, we're also going to see the first pilot for the retail segment. But the use cases are going to be limited. In the case of wholesale e-rupee, it will be for the settlement of secondary market transactions in the government security market, which is expected to reduce the transaction costs in this segment particularly. Now, that is where 9 banks are also expected to participate in the pilot project, from public sector banks to private sector banks as well. That is as far as the wholesale e-rupee is concerned. In the retail e-rupee segment, that is planned for a launch within a month, but this will be in select locations in closed user groups, which are comprised of customers and merchants. Remember, not to be confused with the cryptocurrency, digital rupee or the central bank digital currency is merely going to be the digital form of the rupee as we know it. To further talk about, what the launch of the digital e-rupee means and, how this will help the economy, we have a very special guest joining us now, Mr. H.R. Khan, who is the former Deputy Governor of the Reserve Bank of India. Mr. Khan, thank you very much for joining us here. Now that RBI has finally said it will be launching the pilot for the wholesale e-rupee, what would that mean in the larger context? What should we expect, even though the use case is very limited at the moment?
I think much awaited thing is going to happen. This is a welcome move. And in a sense, the Reserve Bank will be a trailblazer in this digital payment space. And in a digital payment space, India has been ahead of many other countries, including advanced countries. Take, for example, UPI. So here, what you are trying to, whole concept of CBDC is that you provide a sovereign-backed currency, digital currency, as an alternative to private currency, which has host of issues. So here, this first stage is for the wholesale version of e-rupee, and this is they have already tied up with some 9 banks, public sector, private sector, and foreign banks, and they will run this pilot. And I'm sure this pilot, whatever the learnings from the pilot, that will be used to tweak the concept and the design. And it's going to be useful, to my mind, in reaching settlement finality with less of cost, because the guarantees and collateral costs will be cut down. And the risks involved in private commercial bank will be reduced, because you are settling directly in a central bank money. I think this is going to be an interesting and experiment. And going forward, as has been said, that the retail part also will be launched and the user cases to be seen. But that is going to be more interesting, because there are a lot of apprehensions about money in the retail segment, because commercial banks may lose their power of intermediation. But I believe the Reserve Bank must be taking that into account going forward. I mean, that experiment also we look forward to with interest.
But Mr. Khan, on that specific concern that you raised about the retail digital rupee being launched, and how would that at any level be a competition for banks when it comes to keeping deposits? And, what are the possible safeguards that could be put into place?
I believe the central bank will provide some mechanism that this retail rupee is intermediated through the banks. So, and obviously Reserve Bank doesn't pay any interest. So to that extent, it will mitigate those apprehensions, to my mind. So, but let us see what is the design features when the retail e-rupee is launched. Yeah, to look for that, wait for that.
All right, Mr. Khan, thank you very much for helping us understand the implications of the launch of the digital e-rupee. The launch in the wholesale segment come tomorrow, and the retail segment within a month's time. On that note, it's time for us to wrap up this edition of Startup Street, but stay with us. More news and updates will continue right here on CNBC-TV18.